Have you ever looked at a face you've known your whole life and suddenly realized it's harder to make out the features? Or maybe the page of a book feels just a little more blurred than it used to, even with your glasses on. It happens quietly, gradually, and for many people over 60, it feels like your world is gently slipping out of focus. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Ageless Garden, where we talk about real, natural ways to stay strong, sharp, and independent as you age. Today, we're uncovering something quietly powerful and surprisingly overlooked. Because what if I told you there are three simple vegetables, likely in your kitchen right now, that could help stop cataracts, reduce blurry vision, and protect your eyes from fading further? These are not just good for you foods, they are backed by science, and I've seen the results firsthand in my patients. Let's start with something that's probably sitting quietly in your fridge, or maybe wilted at the bottom of your produce drawer. Spinach. Not glamorous, not exotic, just humble, leafy green spinach. But for your aging eyes, it might be the closest thing we have to a natural shield. You see, one of the most common reasons older adults experience vision decline isn't because of eye strain or bad glasses. It's because of gradual damage to a paper-thin layer at the back of your eye called the retina, the part that captures light and detail, like the film in an old camera. Over time, especially after 60, this retina starts to wear down, not suddenly, silently. And one of the biggest culprits is oxidative stress, the same slow-burning damage that ages every part of the body. Now here's where spinach becomes your secret ally. It's loaded with two powerful nutrients, lutein and zeaxanthin. Fancy words, I know, but don't let that scare you. Think of them as the natural sunglasses your eyes wish they had. These nutrients literally filter out harmful blue light from screens, sunlight, and indoor bulbs. They sit inside your retina and act like shields, absorbing damaging rays before they can hurt your vision. But here's the twist, and the reason this matters even more as you get older. Your body becomes less efficient at storing and absorbing these nutrients after 60. So unless you're regularly eating foods rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, your natural protection starts to drop and your retina becomes vulnerable. That's why spinach is such a gift. It doesn't come in a bottle, it doesn't need a prescription, but it delivers precisely what your eyes are begging for. And when paired with a little olive oil or healthy fat, those nutrients absorb even better. Let me tell you about Linda, one of my longtime patients. She's 75, sharp as ever, loves mystery novels and crossword puzzles. But a few months back, she told me something that stopped me. Dr. Brian, she said, I've started skipping my book club. I just can't see the words clearly by late afternoon. We ran some tests. No major retinal disease, no sudden drop in vision. But her eyes were simply exhausted, dry, strained. The early signs of aging, yes, but not irreversible. I suggested a simple change. Linda, I said, just add half a cup of cooked spinach to your lunch 3 times a week. You can saute it, throw it in a soup, or mix it into your eggs. She looked skeptical. That's it? That's it. 3 weeks later, she returned, holding her mystery novel. I finished it, she said, grinning. No rubbing my eyes, no headaches. I even read the crossword clues without squinting. That's not magic. That's nutritional therapy, rooted in the science of how your body ages and how you can support it naturally. Now let's talk practicality. Fresh or frozen spinach, both work. You don't need to eat it every day. Just 2 to 3 servings per week is enough to start replenishing your retina's protective pigments. Toss a handful into a smoothie with banana and almond milk. Stir it into your scrambled eggs. Mix it into brown rice or lentil soup. Keep it simple, but keep it steady. This isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up for your eyes in the small, consistent ways that matter. And remember, spinach doesn't just help protect your retina. It's also rich in vitamin K, folate, and iron, all of which nourish the tiny blood vessels feeding oxygen to your eyes. Better circulation means better vision clarity, less fatigue, and a stronger foundation for long-term eye health. Spinach may not look powerful, but inside your body, it's building defenses. It's restoring what time has slowly worn down. And that's the quiet strength of food. When you give your body what it needs, it doesn't just survive, it starts to heal. If spinach is the quiet protector of your retina, then carrots are the comfort your tired, burning eyes have been asking for. Even if they never said a word, we've all heard it, haven't we? Eat your carrots. They're good for your eyes. It's the kind of advice that gets tossed around so often it almost loses its weight. But here's the truth. Sometimes the simplest advice is the most profound, especially when it's backed by generations of wisdom and modern science. Carrots are rich in beta-carotene, which your body converts into vitamin A nutrient absolutely essential to your vision, not optional, not nice to have, essential. Vitamin A helps maintain a smooth, clear cornea, the outer layer of your eye. But more than that, it plays a critical role in helping your eyes adjust to darkness and produce healthy tear film, the natural moisture layer that keeps your eyes comfortable, clear, and focused. You'd be surprised how many seniors I meet who say, "Doc, my eyes just feel tired all the time. It's like there's sand in them by the end of the day." And they chalk it up to just getting older. But very often what they're really experiencing is mild to moderate vitamin A deficiency. Here's why that matters. Without enough vitamin A, your eyes can't produce enough quality tears. And when those tears don't form properly, your eyes dry out, leading to irritation, blurred vision, burning, and eventually even damage to the cornea. That gritty sensation under your eyelids, that's your eyes crying out, not for rest, but for nourishment. Let me share a story with you. Mr. Carl, one of my patients and now a dear friend, is 72. He's the kind of man who enjoys his evening routine, a warm cup of tea, soft jazz playing in the background, and a well-worn novel in hand. But over the past year, he found himself stopping after just a few pages. His eyes burned. The words swam. The joy in his reading routine was fading. We ruled out major eye disease. His vision had changed, yes, but not dramatically. The problem wasn't his lenses. It was his eye surface. Dry, irritated, fatigued. "Carl," I said, "do you eat many orange vegetables?" He smiled and said, "Not since my wife passed. She was the cook." We started small, just half a cup of cooked carrots 3 or 4 times a week, sometimes steamed with dinner, sometimes roasted with a little garlic, occasionally blended into a lentil soup or mashed with ginger. The change wasn't overnight, but by his next visit, he'd finished 3 novels. "No eye drops, no breaks," he said. "It felt like my eyes finally stopped fighting me." That's what the right food does. It doesn't just treat symptoms. It restores function. And here's something else worth knowing. Carrots don't work alone. They also provide antioxidants that reduce oxidative stress, support contrast sensitivity, and help you see better in low light, like when you're walking into a dim room or driving at dusk. Here's how you can bring carrots into your week without overthinking it. Roast them with olive oil and thyme for dinner. Steam and mash with a little ginger and a squeeze of lemon. Blend into a smoothie with orange juice and a pinch of turmeric. Or keep it simple. Add them to soups or stews you're already making. The key is consistency. 3 to 4 servings per week is enough to restore moisture, soothe dry eyes, and boost your vision's comfort and clarity. And let me be clear, you don't need to wait until your eyes are screaming for help. Carrots are preventative medicine, hidden in plain sight. They're one of the most accessible, affordable, eyesight improvement foods available. So the next time you pass by the carrot section at the grocery store, don't just see it as a side dish. See it as eye therapy, gentle, natural, and powerful. Now let's talk about a vegetable that doesn't often get its due credit when it comes to vision: broccoli. You've probably heard it praised for its heart benefits or its cancer-fighting compounds. But I want to show you how this humble green floret can quietly become one of your eye's strongest protectors, especially as you age. Here's the truth. By the time we hit 60, our eyes aren't just drying out or blurring. They're under constant, invisible attack from something called oxidative stress. It's like a slow-motion rusting of the cells inside your retina. You don't feel it happening. There's no warning light, but it's there, damaging the delicate tissues that help you see the world clearly. Now, the retina is especially vulnerable to this type of stress because it's one of the most metabolically active parts of your body. That means it uses up a lot of oxygen, and in doing so, it creates waste, tiny reactive molecules that can start to break things down unless they're neutralized. That's where broccoli steps in. Broccoli is one of the richest sources of sulforaphane, a compound that doesn't just contain antioxidants. It actually tells your body to make its own. Think of sulforaphane as a switch. When you eat broccoli, it flips that switch inside your cells, activating a natural detox system that fights inflammation, repairs damage, and restores balance. And when that system is turned on consistently, it can slow the progression of age-related vision decline, particularly macular degeneration and retinal thinning. But broccoli's help doesn't stop there. It also brings in a team of eye-loving nutrients: lutein, just like in spinach, which protects against blue light; vitamin C, which strengthens the eye's structure; and zinc, which is critical for transporting vitamin A into the retina. All of this makes broccoli an ideal inflammation-fighting, eyesight improvement food, especially if you're trying to preserve what you still have, rather than wait for things to get worse. Let me tell you about someone special. Mrs. Evelyn. She's 78, sings in her church choir, and still bakes the best banana bread I've ever tasted. But one day after choir practice, she pulled me aside. "Dr. Bryan," she said, "I can't see the faces in the back row anymore. I can hear them singing, but their features, they're gone." She wasn't blind, but her contrast sensitivity had declined. That's the ability to see clearly in less than perfect lighting, like recognizing faces in shadow or reading a sign at dusk. And it's one of the earliest signs of retinal stress. Instead of rushing to another prescription or recommending an expensive supplement, we started simply. I asked her to add steamed broccoli to her lunch twice a week, just a small portion, with a little lemon juice and a drizzle of olive oil to help with absorption. 3 weeks later, she walked into my office smiling. "I'm still not perfect," she said, "but I can read the hymn lyrics again. I'm not squinting. I don't feel lost in the blur." That's the power of nutritional consistency. Not flashy, not instant, but deep restorative support, the kind that builds up over time and quietly gives you your clarity back. And it's easy to do. Steam your broccoli and serve it warm with olive oil and lemon. Roast it in the oven with garlic until it's crispy. Stir it into soups, stews, or pasta dishes you already enjoy. Use frozen broccoli if chopping fresh feels like a chore. It's just as effective. Here's the key. You don't need to eat it daily. Just 2 servings per week can be enough to activate your body's protective pathways and guard your vision from the inside out. So the next time you think about your eyesight and feel like things are slipping, remember, inflammation is often the hidden villain. But broccoli? Broccoli is your silent warrior. By now you might be thinking, "This all sounds great, Dr. Bryan, but how do I actually make this a part of my life?" That's a fair question. And if you're anything like most of my patients, the last thing you need is another overwhelming list of rules or a new complicated diet. You've lived long enough to know that real change sticks best when it's simple, flexible, and forgiving. So here's the good news. You don't have to overhaul your meals. You don't need to give up the foods you love. What your eyes need is consistency, not perfection. Start by taking a look at what you're already eating and ask yourself, where could I add a spoonful of spinach, a side of carrots, a bit of broccoli with dinner? For example, if you make eggs in the morning, toss in a handful of fresh or frozen spinach. Making a pot of soup or stew, throw in some chopped carrots or broccoli florets. Having rice or pasta for dinner, stir in some steamed greens before serving. These vegetables don't have to be the main event. They just need to show up. Once, twice, a few times a week. That's enough to give your eyes the steady stream of support they've been missing. One of my patients, a 67-year-old named Martin, said it best. "I didn't change my diet, I just slipped things in where I could." And over time, it added up. His dry eyes, calmer, his night vision, improved. His confidence behind the wheel, restored. So here's my advice to you. Don't wait until your vision feels like it's fading fast. Start now, just one small habit at a time. A scoop of spinach here, a few roasted carrots there, broccoli in the soup you already love. Use frozen veggies if that's easier. Prep a few servings ahead of time. Build it into the meals you already enjoy. This isn't about being perfect. It's about caring consistently. Because when it comes to your vision, small steps, repeated with intention, can create results more powerful than you ever imagined. Your eyes have carried you through so much. They've witnessed joy, hardship, love, loss, laughter, and change. They're still working for you, every day, quietly, tirelessly. So give them something back. Not a pill, not a procedure, just food. Real, nourishing, healing food. A spoonful of spinach, a side of carrots, a few florets of broccoli. It may not seem like much, but over time, it's everything. You're not too late. You're not too far gone. And you're never too old to reclaim clarity, comfort, and confidence. If this spoke to you, like, share, subscribe. Let's keep growing together here in the Ageless Garden.